I thought it would. I was hoping against hope it would be the other guy.
I was hoping it would be Hunt, isn't it?
Hunt,
yes.
it was.
No.
Because he seemed more sensible. He
Yes,
had
right.
a bit more ideas,
That's
and
right.
he seemed like there was somebody
That's
who
right.
could be negotiated
Yeah.
with. And
I don't really know how it's going to pan out. I don't think anybody does.
no, this is it. It's still up in the air. But
Yeah.
just with Boris being in, it's kind of, we know he's kind of not really the compromising
No, it's
type.
not. He's more a showman than anything.
From what I can tell, people were kind of thinking, sure, there'll be a deal, you know, and nobody really thought it would be a no deal. But just with Boris recently getting elected in, it kind of looks like it's going to be more like a no deal. And even the possibility of an actual hard border, which
nobody wants that hard border.
No,
You know what I mean?
no, definitely not. And some people are even saying that a possible side effect of it, if we do have a no-deal Brexit, would be that maybe like a border poll, people would call out more for a border poll. So some people are thinking that with it being Boris Johnson, the likelihood of a no-deal Brexit has increased. And with Letterkenny being in a border area, we're just asking people's opinions on how they think about Brexit now. And
I think Brexit will affect us big time. I think the politicians have talked a lot but done very little. Boris Johnson is a strange character. He's like a Trump protege. I truly don't know what's going to happen. I know it will affect business. I run my own business, and I think nobody has thought it out properly along the lines. But the local politicians talk, but there's no information. I work with the Department of Justice.
And I know some businesses have in the north, they have got councils in the south, trying to see what happens so they can maybe work around that too. But no, it's just that I'm trying to think. You think a lot about it, but it's when you try and put it into words.
it's when you try, yeah. So
Certainly.
you're saying that you're a businessman yourself,
Yes.
and you're saying that you haven't really felt that there's been a lot of governmental support to help
None.
businesses. None.
No, not
Because
really.
like, do you know how they would say, "Oh, check on our websites, and we're providing all this information,"
but how
but
many
that
people-
hasn't been your
No,
experience.
no.
No.
And then when you come around to election time, you ask them about this. The subject always flips around to something, change the subject.
they squirm out of it.
Yeah. I think Irish people have a habit of, that'll be all right, no matter what happens.
I'm sure it'll be grand.
Yeah, it's just only a bomb going off. Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It's only a wee bomb.
And do you think it might hit people more if an actual hard border
Well, I
does
think
get
it'll hit
erected?
for regulations of things, legal things and stuff. We have immigration now. It's going to hit the businesses big time. But I think very few have thought about it. I've got my homework done. It won't affect my business.
Okay, very good. But you're saying that you've done that homework off of your own
I
bat.
have, yeah. Because I've actually gone to England and Northern Ireland were places that I would deal with and ask them what will happen when the Brexit comes or if it comes. You always be prepared so you don't jump into water if you know how deep it is.
And so you were saying that you feel that it's sort of like an Irish attitude of,
Yeah.
sure, we'll just deal with that when
That's
we
right.
cross it,
Yeah.
as opposed to maybe preparing and to have
Well,
that
we should
foresight.
prepare.
Yeah, we should prepare.
You always prepare for the worst that can happen.
Like, I only remember, I grew up in America, but we would have visited whenever I was growing up, and I would have experienced the hard border, like going down to, my father rented a car to bring us down the Nude Range kind of thing, you know? And I live here, but my family lives in Belfast, so I'm across, and you never even notice it, you know? And it's just that free travel, and when you think of like lorries and businesses and people living in Derry but working in Letterkenny or vice versa, so it's, I mean, unfortunately, it does seem like if there is a hard Brexit, it would mean a hard border, that there's no way that we could get around it.
Well, I have vague memories of it back in the 90s growing up. And
I remember
it's,
it, yeah.
it's not, I don't think it's something I would ever want to go back to. I don't think anybody wants that. So.
And do you think, because I mean, people were saying internationally as well, whenever there was the banks being bailed out, they were sort of like if you looked at Greece or even more recently in France, people were out in the streets kicking off, and they were looking at Ireland saying, where's been the protest, where's been the anger? Do you think?
I think we get very angry, but we don't show it. We're not as what's the word? As flamboyant as the French or the Germans. People we need to hassle is the politicians, but we need better people to speak. And I'm not for any party or any group at all, but those people need to do what they're paid to do. And I think most people I've met they're all figureheads.
Smuggling thing is going to happen again then too. Cigarettes and drugs and all
And
this,
oil
that type of
and-
way. When I work in a school, I cater for children. So fruit and veg. At the moment, it's the reasonably priced. You know what I mean? We go through a lot of fruit and veg. Well, more so the fruit, I suppose, right? So afterwards, the BreXit On then too, and it's all imported. The prices are going to be so high that we're not going to keep it on budget. So some of the commodities that we're giving children, they're going to miss out on because we're not going to buy them because I have a certain budget to stick by. So at the moment, like I can order fruit and buttons and I don't have to worry about it. But if it goes up on 25%, probably they were saying, like, you're going to have to start thinking, limit to maybe 100 apples and whatever. So some children are going to miss out.
I've been a diver, search and rescue diver all my life. You always prepare for the worst that can happen when you're underwater. At the moment, Ireland is floating. If we go underwater, it's too late looking for a life jacket or a tank of compressed air to help you get to the surface. We should be planning way ahead for the worst that could happen.
You know, a lot of the stuff, like say like the local veg supplier that supplies Tyrone, but most of their veg is coming in from abroad. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you know, they obviously have potatoes and all from all around Ireland, whatever, but like the tomatoes and stuff like that, even like chickens are coming from crikey, I can't remember what country, but they're coming from it's ridiculous that we have poultry in our own country, but the chickens are coming cheaper from abroad. That's what we're getting in it. And
But even things like bananas, say for
That's it.
example, which we would take for granted, but they don't really grow here.
That's it.
You know,
That's
and
it. And we're going to be thinking twice about buying them.
And I was speaking to another businessman. He was saying that he has prepared for Brexit, but he felt like he had to do a lot of it off of his own back. Like he didn't feel like there was a lot of government support or advice. I suppose it would be hard for them to provide that advice if they don't know how it's going to pan out as well, you know. But I mean, is that something that you've experienced with?
I was chatting to someone a few months back, and they work for Little. And apparently Little have a team, and this last year they have a team employed solely for that. So when it happens, and they've gone through all the pros and cons with the stores on both sides of the border, so they eventually want to know what they think is going to happen, what they're going to do. But a lot of people, it's just going to hit them, and they're going to go out of business.
See, this is a scary thing because it'll be here before we know it. The news
And Boris, as the new
yesterday.
Prime Minister, that's another joke, as bad as America.
It's like, how many times are we going to be hit by these shocks?
You know, there's so many educated people in the country. I mean,
This
why
is what
these
gets me. I mean, even
God forgive me.
and then and then over in England they voted for, so many voted then for the Brexit Party, which is Farage, which I could understand pre the negotiations, but once we could see the way the negotiations were going, and I just thought maybe that election would give people an opportunity to vote in a different way, or maybe try to resolve it or achieve their aims in a different way. But
We'll give you an example. We've no Brexit at the moment, but say you go to, everyone knows Costa Coffee. You go to Costa Coffee in the north and you buy a toasty. Let's say you want a chicken toasty, $3.95. Go to Letterkenny, it's $6.
it's ridiculous.
So it's not even exchange rate. It's just completely double the price. So you know,
It's
so when Brexit comes with all this, how's this all going to? Prices are all going to go crazy.
so. Is there anything else that you would like to throw in?
No, just to say something about Boris.
Well, I mean, have you seen the memes of like Trump's hair blowing and Boris's hair
Boris,
blowing, and
the
they'll
two- the
say,
two mad
who
twins
wears
and all,
it?
the
Who
two
wears
mad
it best?
That's a bit more drama, because they promise everything and they never follow through.
They never follow through, no. And so, I mean, even though it's affecting England, I mean, we're obviously going to be seriously affected, especially on the border counties, you know. So it's watch this space, I suppose.
Because I live in Strabane, I'm on the border,
Right.
so you can go for petrol,
Yeah, you're right on the border.
and then
yeah.
you have to have some kind of passport to go to the border and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
they're saying if you have a UK, because I would have a UK driving license, but I would drive in the south. So then they're saying like you have to apply for some sort of green insurance card or
Green
something.
card,
Yeah.
Green card. And my insurance, the car says you can go to the Republic, I think it's 60 days a year, right? But obviously you go for your petrol because it's cheaper. But you wonder what happens then if there's an accident or your car breaks down. what's going to happen there.
So they're saying that you can actually only drive in the Republic for 60 days. But say, for example, if you work in the Republic but live, like say, for example, if you lived in Strabane, it's only like 10 minutes down the road and there's Lifford, you've effectively crossed the border. You know?
So your insurance, your insurance doesn't, in theory, doesn't cover you. But a lot of people buy insurance in the north that work in the south and they go to these different places the rest too. But their insurance specifies that, some of them are even less than that. But people say that, sure, how do they know? There's insurance, there's always loopholes that will get you somewhere.
And just one last question, do you actually think, some people are saying it could lead to the breakup of the UK, because with Scotland saying that they want to stay in the EU, the North saying that they want to stay in the EU, and people were thinking if there was a deal Brexit, then that would calm itself down, but if there was a no deal Brexit, then it kind of leaves those regions feeling
But
that
then
perhaps...
I think if there was a United Ireland again, then it could end up coming back to the bad days too. Because some people just won't accept that. Do you know what I mean? And it's just,